This is so bizarre. I was getting everything ready to kind of wrap up some stuff at Houston and Marathon, and I wanted to show the fabrication yards in Louisiana, and I couldn't find it on Google Earth. I mean, I found Morgan City, but it's nothing like I remember, and the only reason I know I'm not going nuts is because it's at the... push the wrong play button. So this is the end of Easy Rider. They're coming into town, and this is Morgan City that I remember. It's you go along here, there are a bunch of little roadside stores and stuff. You're coming into town, there's John and Brian on the way to there's and we're going like, there's Cool John, I'm just trying to hang with him. But that's Morgan City that I remember. It gets better. Hold on. So we got the Marathon Oil rides. But there's Morgan City. There's the Fab Yards that I remember. We came in from this way, but they're going west. Look at all this. All the tower cranes and everything. It just gets better. So they're going along, and John goes, "Hey, wait a minute, you want to go see how your platform's doing?" And I was like, "Nah, I'm cool, John. I'm good." But that's Morgan City. You just wait. You talk about your Mandela effect. This is a different planet. There you go. That was where we built the platforms. Oh, God. See, I was just... No, John, let's just get back and do something cool together. But these are all little oil industry shops and stuff servicing the oil industry. I'm all hopped up because I can't believe this. See, we kept forgetting that it's like, let's go back into... No, let's keep going. Oh, let's go back. But look at this. It's just... That's what I remember. But what... Let me just make sure. Yeah, okay, now we know. We know how it goes. This is called my career path. Anyway, so okay, hold on. So I'm not going nuts. Do you see any yards like that in Morgan City? And don't tell me that, oh, you were in a different city. No, because I've already done this. Denial. There's nothing along here. I don't know what's going on. Because there's a bayou where they shipped out the platforms out to the Gulf, and there's just nothing along here. People are like, well, just go back a little bit further in time. Well, smarty pants. I'm arguing with myself. I am hopped up. It's disturbing. Look at this. Even go back. Look at this. There's no Fab Yards. The oil industry didn't tank that much, and then they replayed. It's not even the same bridge. So I don't know what is going on here. This is just too bizarre. And I kind of did another freak out last night. Here's our house in my folks' second home in Lake Geneva. So last night I'm thinking the same thing. Maybe that's why I'm all ticked off. They have Home Avenue. This is what was Home Avenue. And they've got Home Avenue way over here or something. I don't know. Anyway, irrelevant to the point. And so I'm thinking, yeah, Home Avenue. And then this was our... It's like, no, we had a little gazebo and that's all different. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, did they just demolish? And it's like, no, it's right here. We don't need to scoot in, but so that's where Miles ducked out of his duties as a human being for 10 years before before whacking, no, before round 2 with Nancy, but good grief, I can't get over this Morgan City thing. Anyway, I'll come back and do what I was going to do, but that blew me away, because there's a good story about the Fab Yard stuff, but I can't do it without that, and I'm not going to draw one, but anyway, I'll be back.
I'm so desperate, I put it, this is a channel I watch a lot, I really think they've got it together on this stuff, but, so I wrote him and said, I'm freaking out. I used to work in the oil industry and I can't find this easy writer. Please help. Anyway, I just wanted to say, I've got all points bulleted. I've got $100 bounty on this thing because I don't know what's going on. But, I'll be back. By the way, that's how I feel. Ah! And him too. Ah!
Okay, the second time I've done this, I hope I say things right. So we were coming back from seeing Bullet in Barrington, and we're coming south. One thing about Miles is he can handle a car, and at the time he just bought his first brand new off-the-lot vehicle, which was a Plymouth Fury 3. It was a 4-door, dark green. It was a neat car. Kind of his pride and joy. They got up at Colby Motors up in Barrington and stuff, and remember him kind of thumping his chest about, oh, how about this? And, hey, get the 373. Nah, I'll take the 318. Come on, man. Get. Anyway, and then at the dealer, but anyway, the dealer were trading in. Actually, this was a different car, but he never brought me along after one incident where he was buying a car and we were getting rid of this old white Valiant with a red interior. It's the one where my mother slammed on the brakes and I smacked it into the back seat and got a bloody nose. But back in the day when you didn't have to have seatbelts, and kind of to the point, when Miles was trying to sell or trade in this Valiant for something else, I was so little. I was just like, the dealer's not going to believe that Miles wants to get rid of this car. He's going to think that he wants to keep it. So I kept telling the dealer all the things that were wrong with it. So the dealer would say, okay, we'll get you another car. I didn't know how things worked out. So I'm sitting in the lot telling the dealer all the things wrong with the car, thinking like, my dad really needs a new car. You got to believe him. Anyway, so we're coming back from the movie, and sure enough, there's a drunk driver flying down Higgins Road, and whomp. And I'm sitting behind Miles, and the car spun. The earth shook. The car spun around, and my door flung open, and I was kind of, I remember a little where you're kind of drooped over to the side with the door open, but it was after things stopped moving, or right before they stopped moving. And then the next thing I remember, the ambulance was there. There were probably a smattering of people there. And I was getting loaded into the ambulance, and they put the sheet over my head, and it's just like, don't. I was young enough to know that. And so I'm in the back of this ambulance with my mother and this drunk driver. And my mother is berating the guy. I can't believe you did. I can't believe what you did. And the only thing I remember her talking about specifically is about her pantyhose. I can't believe you tore my pantyhose. And I'm sure she said something about me, but that's all the way from, and I imagine it was Sherman Hospital, that all the way from here to Sherman, I don't want to go there, but she's just berating this guy, and this guy's probably like, oh man, I was having a bad day, and now, oh no, lordy. And the takeaway on this was the irony that this was a brand new 68 Plymouth Fury 33. And they didn't have seatbelts back then, or they weren't standard option. they weren't standard features. So my mother had just like she berated this guy, she kind of berated Miles to put in new seatbelts in the back seat. And this car was only 3 weeks old at this point. So those seatbelts were put in by Miles before this. And you tell me that's not ironic? I'm trying to think what the other irony was. Oh, so all I had was a cracked cheekbone, and Miles was nice to me. It was on a Saturday night, and I just remember waking up Sunday with this big swollen cheek and thinking, because I don't know if I said that. I fell asleep on the back door. I don't know if I said this wrong. I had fallen asleep on the back door, and the impact was right behind where my head was. And that's why I got kind of smacked up. So yeah, I woke up Sunday morning going, oh, imagine now Miles is a good buddy today. I mean, I called him Dad and stuff. It's just hard to call him that now. But, so I was like, I should get some good treatment. And he did. He was nice. That day it was kind of like, you okay? You all right? And I was like, yeah. But come Monday, same old, same old. But I mean, how ironic is that? Pause for effect. Anyway, I'll be back. So going back, I'm just trying to tie some loose ends from yesterday's stuff, and I've got a sore throat because I was laughing so hard yesterday, and I'll try not to go a lot because I know it's annoying, and for me to edit out all those, I'll be here till the next century. But anyway, trying to wrap up what happened with Margaret, and this is why I don't. You know, if you're going to go through life acting like that, then own up to it. And I'm not going to be apologized because she's probably not around anymore either. But you know what? She can't change where she is now. And that's the only reason I'm doing this is, you guys, you know, it's easy for me to say. If you don't walk away from listening to some of these videos of the coincidences and not get a little hint that God's looking over you every single moment and he's putting things in front of you all the time, and you don't realize that. And if you walk away going, oh, I'm the one that got that job because I worked hard and I did. No, you know, if you have a good life, that's because someone's paving the way for you, not your hard work and stuff does a lot of that, but it's being cleared for you probably because you're not going to end up in a good place, and he's just being kind, going, you know what, if he's not going to pay attention, I'll be nice to him now. And I say him, but her or anyone. I'll be nice to them now, but you know what? They're going to regret all these things that they're bragging about, but I guarantee. Oh. So yeah, if you don't walk away from this looking at, wow, look at all these things that this guy didn't pay attention to. Anyway. So the thing I wanted to get about Margaret was, she's the one, when I talked about the secret probation with Irma, and I thought there was a story that rumor was something with Irma. What I later found out was Margaret was passing around this story that I had a thing for kids. And I heard this from Fern. Remember yesterday I said that I woke up and I remembered Marilyn Shields' name? Well, I remember Fern because I sent her Christmas cards for a few years after leaving here. But I used to make homemade Christmas cards because I was too cheap to buy them. Anyway, so she told me, do you realize what Margaret was saying about you before you left? I said, no. She goes, well, that volunteer work you're doing at the children's hospital, she told Jake that you had a thing for kids. And I think that's what Jake was talking about, where he said, I've heard things I can't confirm. I'm not going to bring it up. I'm not going to talk about it. And I thought it was with Irma because, again, we had the Sam and Diane thing. And I know I said that yesterday thinking everyone knows, but Sam and Diane from Cheers. So, you know, the bartender and the waitress and banter, but they took it to a different level, but we never did. Anyway, so that's why there was a weird thing going on. Now I got to give the backdrop to what happened to Texas Children's, but before I do that, I have to talk about this. Everything's connected. So we got word that Tom and Vic and all these fight outs from graduation in '84 were getting together for, there was a Cubs game and a Jimmy Buffett concert, but Blood and Vic were, Tom, his nickname's Blood. So they're having this big bash for the whole weekend that we go up and there's people Friday night, everyone's coming in. Saturday we've got bleacher tickets at Wrigley Field. And then Saturday night we've got Jimmy Buffett concert tickets out at Poplar Creek. So I'm thinking I need to be part of this, but in a bigger way. So that's the precipitous to this. Hold on. I thought that I had this better stuff. So I thought I'm going to get a Volkswagen van again for this thing. So I went I went on a manhunt to find a Volkswagen van again before this June affair. And so before the van again, right before this one, and you talk about fate, because this was the Boilermaker Boogie Bus. But I went shopping for the van again, because I knew it had to be a Volkswagen van again. I mean, what else would you get for a party weekend? So I go to this Archer VW dealer here, and I go, and the guy, I walk in, and I just look like a schlocky 20-year-old and stuff. But I worked at Marathon Oil, and I could buy I could buy a really nice car, but what do? I buy a $2,000 Volkswagen Super Sun Beetle with no back seats and a gas gauge that doesn't work. But I came in here, and this guy just looks at me like a dirt ball. And I said, well, I'm looking at a used van again. He goes, well, I've got one on the lot. And I said, can I take it for a test drive? And he goes, sure. And so I get in, give my license, and I get in, and I'm driving the thing around. And right about here is where the thing runs out of gas. I'm not kidding. So it runs out of gas in the neighborhood, and I'm sure it wasn't the gas gauge. So I walk all this way. It took me an hour to get back to this guy, and I get back to the dealer. And he goes, I was wondering what happened to you. You took off and everything. He goes, where's the van? And I go, wouldn't you like to know? And I tossed him the keys and I walked out. I was on cloud. Well, actually, I was so livid at that whole thing. He looked at me like, where's the audacity of this kid coming through here? So I go, that's your problem. Tossed him the keys, went out and got my car. I got my license back and got back in the car and I took off. I said, you go find it. And I'm trying to think of how I got my license back. I used to get 2 licenses in case I lost one. I had a spare. I don't know. But I tossed him the keys and I took off. And I was so livid about the way I was treated that I had this thing. I wanted to do a sting operation where I went to Radio Shack and I got a tape recorder and I wanted to go in and tape record this thing. There's a guy called Zorn. Hold on, I'll think of it.
Two schools didn't make the grade with Houston health officers.
Max 13's Marvin Zindler tells us why. Marvin?
Well, the schools violated the city health code. That's why. And here's the regular Friday night restaurant report. And now for the big S. What did we have? All together, gang.
Slime in the ice machine.
Slime in the ice machine.
He said slime in the ice machine.
But he's going to have to keep slime out of his restaurant ice machine. Anyway, thanks to the kids from Deer Park Elementary School for being this week's slime choir. Have a good weekend, good golf, good tennis, or whatever makes you happy. Marvin Zindler, Eyewitness News.
Marvin Zindler on channel whatever, but he was kind of the consumer advocate guy. So I was going to go in and do a little sting operation on this guy. I was that mad. It was, I was so livid, shaking livid at the way this guy treated me. It's like, don't treat me. And so I mean, I was trying to recruit people from Marathon, and Dave and Lynn and David and Yusha, and I'm trying to get, and they're like, just let it go, just let it go. It ain't that big a deal. And so I was so worked up about that, and I'm serious. I had a script at what people were to do, where they're going to be when I record. Anyway, I made myself real, or got, however it works. I finally realized all the effort I'm putting into getting back at this knucklehead, it was like, do something decent. So, this is the way it works. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to go to volunteer work. And actually, I did this for twofold. And maybe even the first fold's a little bit more than the second fold. The first fold was to meet people, i.e. girls. And the way to do it is to find people with mutual interests. So I volunteered here on Tuesday and Thursday nights, and this other gal, Faith, and her friend were there. And Faith was good looking, and her friend was good looking. And so I just thought this was meant to be. So I got in, and I did. I enjoyed it because the other thing I never got over with was death. It was, not that I was at, the October 2nd through whenever. Actually, that kind of tapered off after the following year, and I got depressed because come the 1-year anniversary of the event, I thought I should have been more sad, and then I got upset because I wasn't more sad, and I couldn't remember things, and anyway. And then I'll jump fast forward. At the 10-year reunion, high school reunion, the only reason I went is because Rich went, and the only reason Rich went was because I went. So we went to the high school 10-year reunion, and that was the first time we ever talked about Laura. And here I am all these years thinking, me, whoa. And as it turned out, Rich and Laura had a thing for each other. And right before the accident, they were trying to figure out a way to tell me that they wanted to go out. But they both didn't want to hurt me in that process. And I'm not going to say anything else, but oh man, that was a sobering kind of, that whatever funk I was in, I'll always be in a funk respecting on how I felt and what a life means, but that got me out of the, your girlfriend and everything else, because I think Rich took it way harder than me. Well, I don't know how he was pretty brutal. In a decent way, but he was harsh. And I think that was him tucking away. I probably shouldn't say anything. But I think he took it really hard, but in a different way. Because, man, we never talked about that. Nora, nothing. It was just, okay, it's like a computer stack. That was the analogy I came up with. That's like having a 500 card computer program back when computer cards, I'll put up a little thing to remind people what those are. But it's like having a deck for a program and missing 12 cards. Because you just, it's like 12 days of that life that you don't include when you get together with people. Anyway, and the same goes for memories, that you kind of forget the details in those 12 cards. But anyway, so I've started volunteering at Texas Children's Hospital on Tuesday and Thursdays because Faith and whatever her friend's name was. And foreshadowing, guess who I took a further interest in? But nothing, not a date, but just interest, banter. You got, you show up, you try and be cool. It's like, hey, cool girls, I'm here, and let's. But the thing is, the kids, they teach you everything. And I ended up on the cystic fibrosis floor, and you talk about what people have to go through. And so I'm humbling myself, thinking, oh, boo-hoo, about work and Jake and, dumb VW dealers and stuff. These kids spend 2/3 of their life, if not more, in the hospital, but these were the happiest people on the planet. Oh my God. And then, so I took a liking to Steve Brucker. And I'm just going to say it, because I know Janet is out there, and Janet Brucker was his mother, but she was also a head nurse here. And so she had the role of mom, nurse. And this kid called my bluff. He goes, we're playing chess. Steve likes to play chess. And I go, I'm sure the kid's just like, you know what, now we got another volunteer in here thinking he's doing good because he's probably doing community service for something. And so he's a great kid. I'll get into Steve in a little bit. But, so we're playing chess, and then you go through that, should I let him win, or should, these kids are sick, and you go through those mental gymnastics of how do I play, I don't want to go in there and whomp a kid and Kenny Lang go, yeah, in your face, kid, get on the table and do it, Jimmy Collins, woohoo! But you don't want to start beating him in chess. But Steve called my bluff. Because I'm sure when I played chess with him, he saw me looking over at the other table to see how Faith and her friend were doing. And he goes, you're just here to meet chicks, aren't you? And I'm just, no. But he called my bluff. And it was like, well, if you're going to call my bluff, I'm going to double down. And I actually I took a good liking to Steve. And so we ended up going bowling, and I took him to a rodeo, or we went to the Astrodome. I can't remember if it was a rodeo or a ball game or both, but we did stuff like that. He loved bowling, and especially midnight bowling, if his mother would let him go out, because he lived in Clear Lake around here. But he spent, oh God, I'd say 1/3 to 2/3 of his life here, in the CF floor, not in the parking lot. So, he was on, I'd want to say 4th floor, but anyway. And so I think that story got back to, that's not a story you tell Jake, but I would have told Rod or, Bill, I would have told, I would keep that, not a secret, but just low-key, because it's not... This is before I started thinking child predator type stuff, too. This was 84, because that's when, right before we went to that party weekend. And, so that never thought my mind, but I'm never, what's going on in the sidelines is he gay? oh no, he's a perv. And all that's going on behind my back. I don't even think, there's no way I could put those pieces together. But anyway, I'll address Steve a little bit more later. But that's how I got from, tying it up with Margaret, where she was. So I don't hold any ill will about saying things about her, because her destiny's sealed. So she either committed toward the end, or she, and no one deserves what if they don't do the right things, but they kind of do. So this whole effort is to, man, if you don't see coincidences and God's hand over everything, oh, God help you. I'm serious. I'll be back.
Also finishing up so I ended up getting the Boilermaker Boogie Bus. We made it to the game. This was from the game. And so Tom and Vic had the party, and I made the sheet sign because there were at least 20 to 25 fight outs and friends of fight outs and dates coming in from all over the world. Tom Wilson was in Dallas, and there's Blood, and then Rick, and me, and Jim Hill, and Chaz, and Vic, and Tom Kaysen, and Schwartzy, and Dave Metzger. He and Bill are so much alike, where he's just... Dave would call you up on the phone and call you and not have anything to say. So he'd call you up. Dave? Yeah? Yeah, Dave? I just want to see how you're doing. Okay. How are you? Yeah, all right. Metzger. And then here's Blood in the game, and Bo, can't forget about Bo and Tom. Okay, so all these guys are there, and I made this gay little sheet sign because we have people coming in from all over. That's me, that's Tom at TW in Dallas. I forget, I can't remember who that was. Bill Mager lived out there, but I don't think that. Monty, Colorado. Bo is like one of these were Bo because he could live in two places at once. But I can't remember. But look at all these people coming in. There's Tom Paludi, but they didn't show up, and we knew that they were the only one no shows that were. So this is Moose and TP. Where are you? And the thing is, between the group, this is how many Cub fans and Cardinal fans. So, Boiler, Bleacher, blah, separated, yeah, whatever. And, Rick Ream was there. This isn't Rick Ream. I always thought that this was some guy who kept standing up when we were trying to take pictures, but maybe that is Ream. Anyway, I mean, Rick Ream's Rick Ream, but anyway. So we go to this game. You throw a dart in out of chance to just get all bleacher tickets. And it was back in the day when bleachers were cheap and Cubs sucked and everything. But this was 84. This was their banner year. No pun intended. And so as it turns out, this is the Ryne Sandberg game of the century. This turns out to be Cubs were down, and I'm totally going by memory, but I think they were down 7-0, and then they were down 7-6, and then they came back in the 9th or something, and Ryne Sandberg hit a home run in the 9th and tied it up, so he's going on, and then it goes extra innings. He comes up, and he whacks another home run, and, I mean, this game put this guy on the map. It's still televised, and I know I'm not going to do it now, but I know I'm going to go find that and show it to you.
Hit the double or triple. coordinating producer of baseball, Harry Coyle. 1-1 pitch. He hits it to deep left center. Look out! Do you believe it? It's gone! We will go to the 11th, tied at 11. Sandberg, in the Cubs' last at-bat, has twice delivered a game-tying home run, a solo shot of the night, a two-run blast with 2 out of the 10th.
And I searched that once, and you can barely see, because we didn't have the sheet sign up at all times, because it kind of ticked off the people. It's like, okay, that's cute, but you know what? This is the Ryan Sandberg game of the year, century. And so, I mean, what are the odds for that? It's just absolutely astounding. Back in the Cubs when they had the belts. Oh, God, that was so bad. These were like elastic bands. It's like a hair band that you just put on your waist. And a whitey, I can't remember his name. It's like, baseball managers, why don't they make football coaches wear the uniforms? Get, bucket or going through my football or college or pro. Oh, God, you know what I mean. Football coaches, I lost that one. But even hockey, get hockey coaches to get dressed up in the garb with the pads and stuff. Why humiliate just punchy beer-drinking baseball players? Anyway, I did the sniff, sorry. But, oh my God, and then the Buffett concert was that night and it rained. I took probably 10 to 12 people in the boogie bus there. I had to be a pretty good boy at the... Ooh, that was... I was grabbing the wrong ones. And I had those pictures, and I know I tossed them, unfortunately. But at least all these guys were in the boogie bus. I know Rick was, because a picture of him in the back seat. And anyway, and Metzger was there, but we didn't know it. I love Dave Metzger. I really do. He's just a good guy. This guy, I'm walking downtown. He disappears for a while. He went to law school. I'm walking down Michigan Avenue one day. I'm standing there on the street corner, and I hear this stage. And I look, it's one of those where there's no one in the world that someone knows me right now. I turn around, it's Dave Metzger. He'd probably been there for an hour trying to get my attention stage. I'm like, there are those voices again. And he goes, stage. It turns out to be Dave Metzger on Michigan Avenue. I was like, what are the chances of that? So we ended up hooking up again, and we, probably went out for a couple beers and cut. He was a patent attorney, and it turns out the border on ads, in newspapers, they have that little border, and then they've got the little curly Q thing in the corner. I guess there's a patent on that. And Dave was a patent attorney that looked for, and I hope I got this right, but that's what I remember, that he did patent searches to see who violated those little squiggly corners and stuff. It's a patent. And so, he found his niche, but he should have been an accountant. Then he could have been all more fun, but he held the accountant demeanor on weekends. And he could have let go a little bit more, but he was an engineer. So then engineer turned lawyer, so he was an ME, mechanical engineer. So that turned lawyer. So anyway, he's a great guy though. Anyway, I got to quit sniffing and snorting, so I'll be back.
Oh, so wrapping up one more thing from that weekend. So there's this big party Friday night, and the weekend theme was beer, baseball, and Buffett. And so, they were up in Buffalo. Oh, where were they? In Buffalo Grove? I can't remember. Anyway, irrelevant. But, So they had this big party, and all night the people kept rolling in, and it was just so great. All these people. I went up with Deb the night, like Thursday night, and Deb and Tom and Deb were good friends, that we came up to help out with the house, and we went to the beach and had a bottle of wine, and we just sat out there and kind of caught up, and oh, it was great. Then next night, everyone's coming in from all over the planet, and then Saturday was the game, and then that night, it's beautiful, the day, but then this big storm rolled through, and the Buffett concert got rained on hard. And so it turned into a mud bath, and, one of those where probably pre-mosh pit, but I remember we're sliding down a hill in mud and stuff, and get back in the boogie bus and limp back to where Tom and Vic's place was. And I'll think of it in a second where they were, but they weren't in Buffalo Grove anymore. And we got back, and Tom Wilson was from Dallas. He flew up. He was an attorney at this point, or going to law school or something. And he goes, can I get a ride back with you? Because however it worked out with airfare and stuff. I go, sure, I'll swing through Dallas. That's no problem. So we get up Sunday morning. Tom's going to help me drive back, because it was a rough weekend. Man, that's climbing Kathmandu, or Mount Kilimanjaro. Kathmandu. Thinking of K2 and anyway, that was a long weekend. Man, we got gold badges for getting through that weekend. And so Tom and I are driving back to Dallas, and Tom sleeps the whole way. Sleeps the whole way on the passenger side. I'm driving the boogie bus. Boogie bus had 2 gears, second and fourth, nothing in between. When it ran on 4 cylinders, all of a sudden it'd kick down to 2 cylinders, and then kick up to 4, and then drop back down to 2. And so you're going, and the top speed was 50. Anyway, so Tom did one of those. You know what? I don't know how to drive a clutch, or I don't remember how to drive a clutch, so I'm just going to sleep. So I did the driving Mr. Daisy back to Dallas. That was it. But anyway, the boogie bus had when I moved into Chicago, I was living downtown on Halstead, and the Volkswagen, the gold bug just barely made it up there. The windows open. It's January. I'm still using it. I know the word use it, not driving it, using it. And the boogie bus is limping around and leaking, the other one's leaking oil and stuff. So I go in and I try and trade in the van, and the boogie bus decided to shed. And all the paint on the sliding door peeled off. So, like, if this was the door, all that paint just peeled off, so it was raw metal that got the skin coat of rust on it. And I went to trade it in. The guy just goes, we'll just accept charity on this one. And I ended up getting an 84 GTI. Oh, that was the best car. Well, one of the best cars. They're all best cars, but in different ways. But the GTI was a great car. That was the one with my feet hanging over. But that thing leaked too. Anyway, water would get in the cavity, and then get up in the morning, there'd be a puddle in the back seat, and that stunk. But anyway, the boogie bus, yeah, it decided to shed in the cold weather, because it goes, I want to go back to Houston. I don't like this cold stuff. My paint wasn't made for that. So, yeah, the bug, I don't know what happened to the gold bug. I honestly don't. Oh my, I'll think about that. I can't remember what I did with that bug. Anyway, I'm sure it's a story, but I don't remember it. But that's that weekend in the bus and going back to Children's Hospital. So hold on. Okay, I just want to do a quick intro before yak about freshman year at Purdue. So senior year, you know what happened in the fall, and then my wreck in February, and then spring break, and then the mop-up session, and went through graduation. I did the trip up the stairs, and my picture is me grabbing my hat and ha-ha. And I'll tell it. So there were senior awards in the gymnasium. And, well, hold on.